Okay, welcome to a for sale video for the Blair Watch Project. If this is your first Blair Watch Project video, I want to thank you for staying at least for the first 15 seconds or so. This is the way I like to present watches that I have for sale on my website, which is linked below, both the website itself and watches that I have for sale. Use this opportunity to show watches in sort of their different lighting. I am by no means a watch photographer, and so my website, I would say, probably undersells some of these watches that I have available. And I use this opportunity to give you some different angles and some different perspectives on the watches that are listed, and to kind of take you through what I've done in a more verbal way rather than having just the text on the page. So this watch I have fully serviced. I wouldn't say restored because it didn't actually need much restoration. It was a very good watch to start with, but it is a worn. Somebody wore this watch. It's a 1974, June 74, 6105, 8119, otherwise known as the Willard. It is a really nice running watch. I have fully serviced the movement, which for me includes some additional added benefits. These watches, of course, as for those who have worked with me in the past, know that these movements, the 6000 series movements from Seiko, suffer from a very sort of, I would say, a real flaw in their design, and that is that they have a very powerful mainspring, but no jeweling to deal with the potential wear that a mainspring like that can cause. And so as a consequence, we have developed a set of jewels, and here are the two jewels that I put in this watch. This one, they both have, they're both for your mainspring arbors. Your upper arbor port is a bushing, but the lower mainspring arbor port is actually just a hole in the brass that is part of the main plate of the watch. And I machine out that hole, keeping it concentric, and place in a jewel into that spot, which is essentially a low friction bearing. And then on the train bridge, I put a corresponding jewel where the actual bushing resides. So I remove the bushing and put this in, and that extends the longevity of the watch essentially indefinitely. And so it's not a cheap fix. These things are not cheap, but they are certainly worth it. And it takes the watch from something that will eventually wear out and need some intervention to completely bulletproof and fixed effectively forever. So as long as you keep servicing the watch, it will never fail. Yeah, so that's what I do. There's another aspect to my service on these particular watches that's quite useful and really quite necessary in order to preserve the watch indefinitely as well. And it's not an indefinite. I mean, there's always time, and but for your use as you purchase the watch, the one thing you're going to be most concerned about is water. I don't guarantee against water intrusion because I'm not Seiko. I am just a service provider. But I do use Seiko seals, and I do use the correct materials that were from the factory. So the caseback seal, the bezel seal, and the crown seal all are to the specifications that are required in order to make these watertight. The real thing you really have to worry about, because not many people are going to dive with a vintage Seiko watch of this price, is atmospheric moisture and hand washing effectively, or washing your car, or doing something where you may accidentally get some water towards the crown. If it has the original seal, and here is the original seal out of this watch, it's going to not resist water because this seal is shrunken, hard, and no longer considered an O-ring. It's mostly just a hardened piece of plastic, where my replacement O-rings are soft and pliable and provide the right kind of size and shape to retain water tightness. Now you can see that the hole size is of course enormous on this, which means that any moisture that gets past the crown will get into the watch, and that will immediately ruin the loom and ruin the movement. So that's important. So that's been done to this watch. That means a mechanical removal of, there's a washer in here that I mechanically remove and then put back in place with the new washer in place. So that's been done. It's not a unique service. A few of us actually provide that, but it's definitely necessary. The watch has received, again, a full service and all of these extras. Everything works exactly as it should. The performance of the watch is well beyond factory specifications now. A few seconds per day. Amplitude is 230 to 250 depending on the state of wind. It's really nice. It's a great looking watch. It has a couple little imperfections on the case back, but the brushing across the back, that vertical brushing, is quite good. It still retains the brushing on the top surface, high polished sides, but this was a worn watch. Somebody enjoyed this watch throughout his life. I have the crystal that came with the watch. It is a Seiko Type 2 crystal. I've replaced it with the Klein. You'll get this with the watch, of course. So it does have a Klein vintage watch, Type 2, and a Uncle Straps, I think this was still Uncle Seiko, yes, when I bought it, chocolate bar that I think really accentuates. And you can, of course, put this on a NATO, put this on anything you like. You can even put it on a bracelet if you so desire. They make very nice bracelets for these out in the marketplace. That is the watch. I mean, there's not much else to talk about. I hope you enjoy this. You can see the bezel insert, it's good. I think that one that has a little bit of this, what I would call peppering, salt and pepper, is actually something that, if you give it a little bump, you're not going to really be heartbroken. This is a wearing watch. I would wear this watch. My watch, the bezel insert on mine is really, really been bonked. This one, at first glance, you don't really see that peppering. You really have to kind of get it to shine in the light in order for that to come through. Still has the pip, still has the loom under there. All the loom is original to the watch. All the finishing of the watch is original. All the pieces are original. This is a 100% original watch that has not been torn apart and aftermarket parts been put in. It is as it was when it left Seiko in '74, and I really think that's harder to find these days. There's a lot of aftermarket stuff out there, but this is the way it was. It is the original watch. So if you're looking for a good Willard, check out the link in the description below and let me know. I'm happy to send this watch to you as soon as I can get it to you. All right, thanks for watching, and click that link.